Deep within the heart of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, a 100-acre Amish farm thrives through the brutal heat of summer without a single drop of synthetic irrigation. Its secret isn't a million-dollar automated watering system, nor is it a proprietary laboratory fertilizer. Instead, the answers lie buried beneath the leaf litter of the surrounding hardwood forests. Every autumn, nature drops billions of tons of a complex structural material. While modern agriculture ignores it, Old Order farmers harvest it, transforming it into a crumbly, water-retaining, fungal-dense substance they call black gold. This is leaf mold, the ultimate off-grid hack for soil vitality, and the most compelling aspect of this centuries-old engineering logic. It doesn't require acres of land. The exact biological mechanics that fuel a massive heritage farm can be scaled down to fit inside a single plastic tote on a concrete suburban balcony. By understanding the physics of cold, fungal decomposition, you can stop buying into the commercial agricultural loop entirely. You can turn what your neighbors consider municipal waste into the most valuable asset your backyard will ever see. Every spring, millions of suburban gardeners take part in a deeply flawed economic ritual. They drive to big-box home improvement centers and load their trunks with heavy, plastic-wrapped bags of commercial potting soil, peat moss, and chemical fertilizers. It is an industry built on artificial scarcity and immense environmental vulnerability. Consider the primary ingredient in almost every commercial mix: peat moss. Peat is extracted by stripping thousands of acres of pristine, ancient peatland bogs across Canada and northern Europe. This material is bagged, loaded onto diesel trucks, and shipped thousands of miles. Yet, the moment peat moss dries out completely, its cellular structure changes. It becomes highly hydrophobic, meaning it actively repels the very water your plants need to survive. While growers spend hundreds of dollars annually on these imported failing substrates, they are simultaneously throwing away the cure. Every October, the average suburban property generates hundreds of pounds of pure carbon in the form of fallen leaves. Municipalities spend millions of dollars collecting these leaves, packing them into diesel dump trucks, and hauling them away. Buried inside sealed landfills, deprived of oxygen, these leaves undergo anaerobic rotting, converting a massive resource into harmful methane gas. The modern homeowner is literally paying local taxes to discard the exact biological building blocks their soil is starving for, only to drive down the street and buy it back in a plastic bag mixed with synthetic chemicals. It is an expensive, high-carbon loop of dependency, but traditional off-grid design offers an elegant exit. By stepping out of the industrial supply chain and looking at the autumn drop through an analytical lens, we can unlock a structural biological matrix that costs absolutely nothing to produce. To understand why leaf mold is so structurally superior, we have to look at the fundamental physics of decomposition. Most backyard gardeners are familiar with traditional hot composting. That process relies on a heavy input of high-nitrogen green materials, like kitchen scraps or livestock manure, which fuels a rapid explosion of aerobic bacteria. These bacteria generate intense thermal energy, spiking temperatures between 140 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a violent, high-energy burn that rapidly off-gases carbon into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. But the Amish method operates on an entirely different biological system. Leaf mold is a process of cold, slow, fungal decomposition. It does not want heat, it does not want nitrogen, and it does not want bacteria. Instead, it is driven almost exclusively by basidiomycete fungi, commonly known as white rot fungi. These specialized organisms are among the few forces on Earth capable of breaking down lignin and cellulose, the incredibly tough, woody polymers that give a tree leaf its structural rigidity. Because leaves sit at an immense carbon-to-nitrogen ratio of roughly 60:1, bacteria find them completely unpalatable. But for fungal spores, This carbon-rich environment is an absolute paradise. The math behind this masterclass hinges on two variables: moisture and airflow. The Amish do not turn these piles constantly to inject oxygen like hot compost. Instead, they stack the leaves natively in massive, unmanaged windrows where moisture is held strictly between 50 and 60%. This creates a stable microclimate. Over 12 to 24 months, the fungal mycelium weaves an intricate biological net through the stack, slowly digesting the carbon without volatilizing it. The result of this patient process is a structural miracle. Mature leaf mold isn't fertilizer. It contains very little nitrogen, phosphorus, or potassium. Instead, it is a pure humic matrix. Its cellular geometry allows it to hold up to 4 times its dry weight in water, acting as a microscopic sponge in your soil. Furthermore, it possesses an extraordinary cation exchange capacity. This means it functions as a biological battery, pulling in and holding onto free nutrients in the soil, preventing them from washing away during heavy rains, and feeding them back to your plants on demand. Furthermore, because this decomposition occurs natively at the hands of woodland fungi, your finished leaf mold is saturated with indigenous mycorrhizal networks. When mixed into a garden bed or container pot, these fungi form a symbiotic relationship with your vegetable roots, effectively extending their surface area by hundreds of times to unlock tightly bound phosphorus that plants could never access alone. It is an off-grid masterclass in biological efficiency. So how do we translate this massive, slow-moving forestry operation into a compact, fast-acting backyard system? The greatest barrier to leaf mold in a suburban setting is time. A massive pile on an Amish farm takes 2 years to mature because the leaves remain whole. But we can exploit a core mechanical principle to compress that 2-year timeline down to just 6 short months: surface area reduction. By reducing the physical size of a leaf, you expose thousands of fresh microscopic entry points for the fungal hyphae to colonize. If you have a lawnmower, simply drop the deck to its lowest setting and run over your autumn leaf pile 2 or 3 times. If you are operating on a concrete compound or a tiny balcony, there is a brilliant, tight space alternative. Stuff your collected dry leaves directly into a deep plastic trash can. Insert a standard gas or electric string trimmer straight down into the barrel, and activate it like a giant kitchen blender. Within 60 seconds, the volume of your leaves will drop by a ratio of 4 to 1, increasing the available surface area tenfold. Now choose your bioreactor vessel based on your specific urban footprint. For a balcony or small patio, the molded plastic tote method is flawless. Take a dark, opaque 18-gallon storage container. Using a power drill with a 1/4-inch bit, drill ventilation holes every 3 inches along the entire base, sides, and lid. This ensures consistent oxygen diffusion throughout the core while preventing the stack from turning anaerobic. If you have 0 floor space, use the contractor bag method. Take a heavy-duty, 3 ml thick black garbage bag and pack it tightly with your shredded leaves. Pour 1 quart of water directly into the center of the bag to establish your baseline moisture profile. Tie the top securely, and then take a garden pitchfork or a large screwdriver and puncture the exterior of the bag 12 times evenly around its surface. This basic plastic layer mimics the protected, insulated damp microclimate of a dense forest floor perfectly. For those with a small suburban yard, the ideal translation is the microwire corral. Roll out a 12-foot length of standard 4-foot-tall hardware cloth or wire fencing. Join the ends together to form a self-supporting 3-foot-wide circular ring directly on top of bare soil. Dump your shredded leaf material inside. The contact with the open earth allows local earthworms and native fungal spores to migrate directly upward into your pile, accelerating the biological transformation. Regardless of the method you select, the final critical step is the sponge calibration. Fungal networks stop growing instantly if the environment dries out, but they will drown and rot into a smelly mess if the leaves are waterlogged. Grab a handful of the damp, shredded leaves and squeeze it firmly in your fist. Your hand should feel distinctly cool and wet, and the leaves should hold their shape when you open your palm, but not more than 1 or 2 drops of water should actively squeeze out. Seal your vessel, place it in full shade, and let the white rot fungi work their silent engineering magic over the winter. When spring arrives 6 months later, you unseal your bioreactor vessel to find an architectural marvel. The original shape of the leaves is completely gone, replaced by a dark, rich, chocolate-colored substrate that smells exactly like a fresh forest floor after rain. By committing a mere 20 minutes of physical labor during the autumn drop, you have successfully bypassed the commercial agricultural supply chain. This substance is pure biological capital. When tilled gently into your raised beds or mixed into container pots, it completely eliminates the need for imported, ecologically destructive peat moss. During the blistering peak of July, while your neighbors watch their garden beds dry out and crack, your soil will remain damp and resilient, slashing your household water consumption by up to 40%. You have unlocked a permanent reservoir of living soil biology that secures your plants against climate extremes for absolutely zero financial investment. This is the essence of true self-reliance, recognizing that what modern society classifies as municipal waste is actually a foundational asset waiting to be engineered. You don't need 100 acres of pristine farmland to practice sovereign homesteading. You only need the willingness to observe the natural design around you and the discipline to apply it. If you want to discover how to scale this traditional off-grid wisdom even further across your property, hit the subscribe button and join our homestead community. In our next episode, we will show you exactly how to prep a suburban yard for farming the Amish way without ever lifting a heavy tiller.